the way old big men were. You got to try to get them off their feet. I mean, there's a psychology to that. Yeah. But, the thing is, too, I got to be honest, Rhea Ripley's in that same category as far as I'm concerned. Absolutely. How many times have we spoken about Rhea Ripley selling to somebody half her size? We talked about that every single week. When it comes to big man psychology, I would listen to Kevin Nash.
What's going on, everybody? This is Dr. Chris Featherstone here for another episode of the Wrestling Outlaws.
Oh my God.
I am here with multi-time world champions combined. 4 world title reigns.
3, Chris.
No, three with you, but 1 with Vince. I say combined.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, man, come on. Don't undersell Vince Russo, former WCW World Heavyweight Champion. EC3.
I'm not. He beat Ric Flair. I never beat Ric Flair.
He beat Ric Flair. Yes, he did. I don't think we're allowed to say that anymore, but hey, the record books are the record books, man. So you could Google it yourself. We have. Go ahead.
Sure, why not? I didn't see the questions didn't come today, so we're going in blind. But so I have a friend who was like wants to follow her dream job and like get out of the rat race of what her current career is and stuff. And I sent some suggestions on some jobs, like taking your graphic design, your UX design. Maybe these are things you can do to monetize while you're building that other thing. And then one of the jobs I suggested to her was a Flair watch, I called it, because she lives in Tampa and she sees him sometimes at those bars. And I'm like, yeah, you just follow him around and it's like a Planet Earth documentary and you talking like a British voice about, the old Silver Fox is getting his fill of blue energy. I thought it was fun.
Nice. Very nice. Start a YouTube video on that, man. I'm sure it'll soar. It'll absolutely soar, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely. All right, let's talk. Vince Russo was just kind of having a fun time with the guns, man. Very, very nice, man. Just as EC3 and I are talking, he's doing a slow curl, just because he can, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's talk about Kevin Nash recently speaking about Raquel Rodriguez not working right. He said this. He said, I get pissed off at her because she's always works down. She works small. I'll see her selling and she'll make herself small instead of staying up and selling big. Like moving your hands this way instead of dropping so you can get dropped down to them. I think all 3 of us can give a hearty amen to that. Vince Russo, I'll let you go first on this, man.
Oh, yeah, you guys, you got to remember. I can remember. I swear to God, I can remember Kevin Nash sitting with Chief Jay Strongbow. Okay, that's how far back I can remember Kevin Nash. So you got to understand, as a big man, Kevin Nash was schooled by the best. Pat Patterson, Vince McMahon, like I said, a Chief Jay Strongbow. He was, the way old big men were. You got to try to get them off their feet. I mean, there's a psychology to that. Yeah. But, the thing is, too, I got to be honest, Rhea Ripley's in that same category as far as I'm concerned. Absolutely. How many times have we spoken about Rhea Ripley selling to somebody half her size? We talked about that every single week. When it comes to big man psychology, I would listen to Kevin Nash.
Yeah, agreed. EC3, one of your top stars in Exodus, is a big man. What's the psychology? That's right. What's the psychology behind working a big man and using his size to tell a story in the ring?
Yeah, you're an anomaly, and big man, big woman, like the aspect of a giant in a sense, somebody bigger than everybody else. It's kind of been lost. I'm a normal sized guy, and some of the best matches you could have are like telling that story of breaking it down. And Like a Brock Lesnar is obviously a big man. He's not like a big show man, but he's a big man. And I point him out constantly to like people learning a big man style, or just in general. He's one of the best sellers I've ever seen because of how he makes people work to get him down. And then once it's down, it's kind of like now it's anybody's ball game. And it's an art. Pretty Boy Smooth, and like he didn't have WWE developmental training yet, like he's gotten with us and myself, Aaron Stevens, and kind of like he's getting it for sure. But what I've noticed is a lot of times, and maybe this is the case, but like people are trained to work down because that style is so lost, and so very few have been able to apply it with at like high levels. A high level guy like a Kevin Nash who's learned from the best and passing it down. He's on the trenches training, you know, everybody on like an indie scene or even in developmental. Maybe he comes in once in a while, passes on his knowledge, but there's very few big men, big woman trainers. One other thing too, so like the idea that has corrupted wrestling in the bubble is the sense that like the competition doesn't matter. When people feel the need to do this, but they don't. And fans are going to be receptive of the ones that don't, not the ones that do, but good match theory or like working to someone's size, like it doesn't matter. I think it's just a negative loop that has been constructed where, well, because that's the style now. It's not, but that's what is perceived as the style now by who? Well, that's what the fans want. Do they? Because even you read like look at what fans do, aren't they? Like, why they're saying what you guys are saying, and I don't want to be critical of Rhea or Raquel because I'm an avid fan of both of them, but working down something that they probably feel they have to do to make other people look good. Because sometimes as a professional too, we want to make like there's an honor in making somebody look good, like to sell well, where they can do that by maintaining the exact same things we're talking about. And Big Kev is probably the perfect example. Like, and that's what PB kind of like, stop. It took him for me to bring him in where I didn't really know him, but saw him and potential. And he took a chance on me, costing himself other bookings because people are weird in wrestling, whatever. But to learn from me and like bringing him in, I'm like, I want this kind of match. He's like, yeah, but I'm not bumping. I'm like, I know. He's like, well, you're going to pay me to not bump? I'm like, yeah. And then I bring him back, and I'm like, all right, I don't even want you wrestling the show. I want you to hang out and have these hot chicks feed you grapes all day. You're going to pay me for that? I'm like, yeah, but I'm not bumping. I'm like, of course you're not. But then that carried over, and now he's been able to become a star in that sense. Same time, he's feeling why it makes sense, because then he's working later, and finally our babyface Dante finally bumps him for the first time, and the place went, oh, you know, and it's like, oh, and then it starts clicking when they see it in action. One other thing, big men and women, and a lot of us do as wrestlers, that has been lost is kind of hunching, and I notice myself doing it. It makes me sick when I see it, but that standing tall, standing upright, what Kevin's talking about, this goes for anybody aspiring or currently professional wrestling, though, is like staying upright, because we all have that tendency to slouch. Maybe it's how our bodies are being developed and things like that, but like one thing to look for from a big man, big woman, big person matters.
Yeah. Well said. I think there's a lot of really cool, really good points that you just made. I think, you know, from a spectator perspective, just that old school Hogan Andre, you know, philosophy, you know what I mean? And it's like the scarcity effect means something when it comes to just period, specifically in selling, because if there's a scarcity of big man taking bumps, it makes the bump look bigger. Like, just imagine Andre being slammed a bunch of times before Hogan slammed him. Like, it would take away the awe and the aura of Andre getting slammed by Hogan. I remember when Taker was going against John Gonzalez at WrestleMania 9, Caesar's Palace. He kept doing the clothesline gimmick, and, you know, Giant Gonzalez would startle, and you know what I mean. And it's like people used to have an ovation when a big man dropped on one knee.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that type of, people would sell.
Yeah,
that was the psychology that came into matches where if a big man dropped on one knee, the crowd is going berserk, and it's like that philosophy still can be applied. It's like just because we're in this quick microwave society doesn't mean that psychology doesn't need to be taken away.
Well, Chris, also remember exactly what you are describing because I remember it well, but the announcers were also selling the size of the guy. Gorilla Monsoon would be selling the size. Bro, you never hear them sell the size of Rhea Ripley or Raquel Rodriguez. They never sell their size.
That's a great point.
Yeah, I mean bro, because that was the thing when they were selling the size, and they would say that you got to get Andre off his feet. You got to. So now when that's what the babyface is trying to do, they're selling the size. They don't sell size anymore, man.
I remember when Taker, real quick, DC3. To your point, Vince, real quick. I remember when the Undertaker debuted. And Roddy Piper said, "Look at the size of them hell hearts."
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's hard to the genie out of the bottle, so to speak, with a Raquel or a Rhea, where they've been seen going down. Shut up, Michael. They've been seen knocked off their feet or being same size as people infinitely smaller than them. How do you get back to that short of just doing it? And I think one last thing that affects a talent is the immediate feedback from fans. So let's say Rhea, who's been over as hell and champion and top for a while, starts having matches where her size is protected. And she has a 5-minute match with an over, girl, but dominates. And then the feedback loop's going to be like, it was a squash, boring, Rhea doesn't know how to work. And that will affect them. We're like, shut up, fans. You don't know what you're talking about. Watch this. I'll take 17 flatbacks faster than anybody. And can you get past that? Can you turn that off?
I don't think Triple H can. I swear, because Chris, I have to tell you, this is a different physical feature. Okay. When I look at Tiffany Stratton, bro, here's the first thing I always think about when I see her compared to all the other girls. Bro, her freaking thighs are like tree trunks. She's got huge ass thighs. To me, I am selling that. That is now part of her character, her base, how the strength in her legs. She should be difficult to get off of her feet, but they never use the physical attributes anymore, and that makes everybody the same.
Yeah, I think that there's a psychology that the wrestlers knew during that time too. I remember the feud between Bret Hart and Kevin Nash. When Kevin Nash was, he was getting into the Black Glove era and things like that. And Bret Hart was so smart because back in that day and even before, the goal for the babyface was to keep working the leg. You keep working the leg. You keep bringing the leg down. That was the story and the psychology throughout the match. You work the leg. You work the leg. You bring them down, work the leg, and then only thing it took was you going across the ropes, and all of a sudden everything is just kind of, the momentum is squelched because the big man only has to do one big boot, and now it's a reset. And now you have to work the leg in, and that's the psychology of those matches. And the fans were in those ebb and flows of working the leg.
Yeah. Taker and Bret and Kev and Bret were awesome in the 90s.
Yeah.
There's one paradox to this all, just to briefly cover too, is that then you're going to get on the opposite end of the spectrum, these idiots, these people who are not Rhea Ripley or not Raquel or not a Tiffany or not a Kevin Nash or not anybody we've mentioned, where I hate, I gotta look strong. And it's shut up. You don't. Or you look strong if the point of the match is to be competitive, you look strong to show signs of weakness and to be taken down. So the exciting part of my language. Yeah, so that's it.